Hi, Grayson College family. My name is O.L. Kelly, the Director of Student Life and Housing here at Grayson College. I'm here with Grayson College Counselor Claudia Perez. Hi. Claudia, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, so I'm Claudia Perez. I'm a LPC or Licensed Professional Counselor Associate. I work in the Department of Counseling and Social Services here at Grayson, just me and my director, Barbara Malone. So we offer mental health counseling for currently enrolled students or students that are enrolled in an upcoming semester, as well as we help with social service type stuff. We give community resources as well as financial and food assistance to people who might have fallen on some hard times. So that's pretty much what our department does all day, every day.
All right, thank you so much. Today we're going to be coming to you from Grayson College, and we're going to be talking about some coping skills and some coping skills and things through stressful times. So Claudia, with that being said, if you could just talk to us a little bit about the importance of self-care during this time of COVID and quarantine and just a new life.
Yeah, so that's a really good, important topic. I think 2020 is the year for self-care because 2020 has just been a year. So self-care, it's really hard to define because it's like asking me to define what air is. It's just how do I find the words? So self-care it sounds pretty self-explanatory. So self-care is like, okay, well, I'm eating, I'm taking showers, I'm doing things, I exercise. What more do I need to do? That's one portion of it. Physical is really important, that you take care of your body physically, but we are a lot more than our physical bodies, right? We are emotional and mental beings. So it's also taking care of that mental portion. So I always tell my clients, when they're coming in, they're like, I'm really stressed, I don't know what to do. Like, what are you doing for self-care? Well, what is that? I'm like, okay, you're a Coke bottle and we just shook you up. And what's going to happen as soon as we barely have to open that lid. Okay. You don't even have to open it all the way. You barely open it. It's going to explode. Well, that's what we are all going to do if we don't take some time to kind of defizz, if you will. What does that mean? So self-care is not just a defensive act. You don't just do it when you're stressed. It's an offensive act. You do it to prevent those freakouts, prevent panic attacks, prevent anxiety attacks. So it is doing something for your mind, body, and soul to care for yourself. So I did a lot of research. I did a presentation a couple weeks ago about this to some librarians. So that's not our librarians, but other librarians. And so everybody can need this. Students, grown adults, it doesn't matter. It essentially is, I did some research and they said the best way to practice self-care, what do I do? I know what it is now, but what do I do? They say do one relaxing activity every day. That's going to be something low energy, something that doesn't require a lot of movement, a lot of, your heart rate should stay at resting. That could be prayer, if you're into that, meditation, if that's more of your thing, a nice walk, like a meditative walk. If gardening is pretty relaxing to you, some people knit, some people read books, you get the idea. Things that are just relaxing, that are low energy. They also say pair that with something that's fun or pleasurable. And that could be high energy. If you like a jog, do it. If you like to bake a whole cake, do it. Something that's just fun, that you just are like, wow, I look forward to doing that every single day. Do that. Pepper that in with some time with people that make you happy. That's loved ones, friends, whatever it is. If you do that every single day around I know you're busy. I know it's like, I don't have time to do that. Make time. Make time, because we know what's going to happen if you don't. Do it every day and you'll notice that your stress levels are going to plummet.
I bet you wouldn't know this, but I can actually crochet.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I want to learn that so bad. I still haven't done that. I need to buy a book.
One of the things that I like to do is I like to go home and take naps. So where does napping and sleep play into self-care?
That's really interesting. So napping and sleep is good. You want to keep it in the medium, though. It is possible to sleep too much. I would say, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say I'm a sleep doctor and I'm an expert in this. But I do know when it comes to mental health, I believe I'm an expert in that. And too much sleep is actually indicative of some mood disorders. So, and along with a bunch of other things, it just has really negative things. Your body needs caloric intake. Your body needs to get rid of some energy, and it can't do that if someone is sleeping 9 hours a day and then taking 3-hour naps. Like it just messes up all of our circadian rhythms. It's not good. But you also want to get sleep just a regular amount of sleep. So people that are sleeping 4 hours a night, that's not good for brain development. It's not good for memory. It's not good for a lot of stuff. You'll start noticing that you can't focus as much. You can't retain information as well. So sleep as a whole, it's okay to take a nap if your body needs it. But an everyday 2-hour nap, we need to look at some stuff. What's going on? You're not sleeping well at night. What's happening here? As far as sleep as a whole, when it comes to a big event, such as a big exam, or you have a big game coming up or something like that, you want to find that happy medium. You want to get enough sleep. It's going to improve your memory. It's going to improve your performance overall. And here's an interesting thing. So I did not do this when I was in school because I was a stay up late and study kind of person. I suffered from that. So, and research just does not back up that it's supportive at all. They actually say that you should wake up early the next morning to finish up some last minute things you need to get done. So if that's some last minute studying, don't do it at 2:00 in the morning. Go to bed and wake up and start and do that last bit at 6:30 in the morning. It's just going to be a lot better for you. It's going to set your circadian rhythm correctly back to the sunlight, if you will. Just do that extra hour in the morning and try to get some sleep before a big event.
Okay, thank you so much. Could you talk to us a little bit about diet and eating and the importance of diet and eating?
Yeah, so I will once again preface this, I'm not a nutritionist, I am not a dietitian, but I do know how it affects mental health. So when it comes to dieting and eating, before a big event, I should say, this is not the time to start a diet. This is not the time to change up your whole body, because when you do a diet or something like that, your body's going to go into shock. Sometimes it's a good shock, sometimes not. But if you've got something big coming up, that is not the time that you want your body to be having some kind of shock reaction to either a caloric deficit or whatever it is you're doing. It is not the time. Do it when that's a more peaceful time, when there's not a lot riding on your performance. There's actually some food and drinks that are proven to improve your memory. So green tea, dark chocolate, and surprisingly, coffee can actually help you kind of focus. Now, if you're very sensitive to caffeine, you might be that outlier. But those things actually can kind of help with memory. Now, you want to offset that with plenty of water, though. Coffee is very dehydrating. If you're a Coke drinker or anything like that, you want to make sure you stay hydrated. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water as well. They also say to not eat too many carby food, if you will. So if you've ever eaten a big meal and you're just like, man, I'm so tired, I can really go take a nap. You really kind of want to avoid that. You don't want to eat something super carby, all this bread, all these carbs, and then go and try to do something, a big test or a big game. You're going to feel like not good the whole time. So just eat, I wouldn't be like, oh, today's the day, so start eating your fish and greens. If you don't normally eat that, that's okay. But maybe try to choose less carby foods if at all possible. And the biggest thing is to eat something in the morning. So I'm not a breakfast eater, but I can tell you this, when I took one of my biggest exams, my comprehensive exams for my master's degree, I got up really early and went and had a breakfast because it does start your body moving. It starts your metabolism. It gets everything going. If you just want to have an apple, that's better than nothing. Eat something, get your body started. Avoid things like alcohol as well. If you can, save that party for after. You want your body to be hydrated, satisfied, and ready to perform its best at whatever event you got coming up.
Right. So just make sure that you aren't going in on an empty stomach, and just, finding that balance, that good balance. The same with sleep and rest, that you are well rested, but you're not overly rested for that. And so you're ready for that.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about dealing with stress and anxiety during this time.
Yeah. So anxiety and stress, I feel like that's like my baby. That's something that's near and dear to my heart, and help a lot of people with that. So anxiety is a fancy way of saying fear. Everybody has a fear response, whether you have an anxiety disorder or not. Everybody has a fight or flight response. It is biological. We have that. But sometimes it can act out inappropriately, I would say, which isn't even really the right word, but really just means it's acting out in a time when your life is not in danger. That should come when you're walking down a dark alley and you think someone's following you, okay? You should have a fight or flight response. There's something not right if you're not, because your body wants to survive. But we can have those feelings, that fear, when we're not in a dark alley, when we're in a safe place. And that's when it's kind of acting, your fight or flight response is acting wrong. But it's a fear response. You're scared of this event, that you're going to fail at it. That is terrifying. I'm validating your feelings. Yes, that is terrifying. But that fear can almost paralyze you. It can make you be like, why am I studying? What am I doing? I don't even know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. I'm going to fail out anyway. And those thoughts can snowball and make you just get huge and just make you feel really bad. So if that's something that you struggle with on a regular basis, not just this one event, I encourage you, we'll talk a little bit later, start some counseling either with us, or if you have an outside counselor, so we can work on some ways to kind of prevent that from interfering for the rest of your life. But overall, I would just say that it's a fear response, but it doesn't have to run your life. You can take control of it. So there's some, research so I talk about this a lot with anxiety. It's called rumination. So rumination just means that you think about something over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And we've been there. Okay. We've all been there. You're like, I want to turn my brain off. I don't know how to make it stop. There is some healthy rumination. Some of the most successful people have rumination. And that's because if there's a problem to solve, they're like a dog with a bone. They're not going to give it up until they solve it. That can be good. But there's a limit. Just like with sleep and eating, you've got to find a happy medium. So I tell my clients to set up a worry time, if you will. That's a time when not a lot else is going on. They can find a time in their day where they're like, okay, I really want to worry about this and make me cry a little bit. That's okay. Set aside 30 minutes, cry about it, freak out about it, punch a pillow, do whatever you got to do. When that 30 minutes is up, shut that box. It's over for today. We're not going to sit here and waste any more time, have any more pity parties, because you're going to take your life back. And that's it. You've had your successful rumination. Maybe during that time you came up with some problem solving skills. That's it though. Because after that, you're going to start bleeding into that anxiety. You're going to start leading into that panic attack, and then you won't be able to stop it. So that's kind of my advice. And another thing is, if it does start coming in, you're like, well, I tried to shut the box. It's not working. In counseling, I do a lot of thought replacement, which is basically, okay, those pesky thoughts are coming up again. I already had my worry time, but now I'm afraid I'm going to fail again. Do some thought replacement. I'm going to fail. No, I'm not. I'm so prepared for this test. And if that means that thought comes back over 30 times that day, keep replacing it with that thought. Once again, this is a quick little tip. People spend months in therapy learning this. So if that's something that you think you struggle with, reach out to me. We'll start doing some stuff in counseling, and hopefully you'll get better at that thought replacement.
Thank you. And talking with some of our students, when COVID started and we went into quarantine, a lot of our students talked about just how hard it was for them. They're used to, and they do better in face-to-face classes. And so now they've had to try to adjust to online classes. And that brings a little bit of the stress and anxiety to them as well. Give us some thoughts and ideas on working and learning to adjust to those online classes.
Yeah, so everybody learns differently, y'all. Some people are really good at doing self-paced stuff, and that's pretty much what online classes is self-paced. And that's great. And other people aren't. And that doesn't mean that, those other people are not as intelligent as the self-paced people. It just means that we all learn differently. So those people that don't like online classes are like, nah, I'll take it in person. But COVID is kind of, like you said, just kind of put a big damper on our whole year. So if it's not possible to take an in-person class, there's definitely some tricks that you can make it to be as in-person as you can. So big things is setting aside some time for your class. So if that means, like, if you wanted a 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. history class or whatever, do your history work between 1 and 3 p.m. This is the time for you to get your perfect schedule that you just couldn't get before because, when you were trying to register, it just didn't fit or this didn't fit. Make it your schedule. Set aside this time for history, this time for science, this time for whatever, and sit down and get that work done at that time. If you're a night person and you like it at night, cool, you just got a night class. I also recommend setting aside a space. Space is so important for our brains. So, the Harvard Crimson says, like, do not do your work in bed. That is the worst thing you can do, because now you'll probably notice that you'll have a hard time sleeping because you're starting to associate other things with bed. Whereas when you get into bed, your body should be like, oh, I'm associating this with sleep and relaxation, and I can get some good sleep. But if you do everything in bed, your bed's no longer going to be that sleep space for you. It's going to be a workspace, a talk space, everything but what the bedroom is supposed to be. So set aside a time if you want to go out in public, using safety precautions, especially with masks and social distancing. There are some places that you can do that. Or if you work better at home, set aside a space and get that work done there. And even though you can't go into your professor's office hours, before you could just go by their office and talk to them. I know that it can be difficult to relay your questions sometimes via email. It's hard to type out. It's hard to explain what you're trying to say. So your professors are here to help. So ask them, when is your office time? Can we meet via Zoom? Can we meet via whatever? Because I'm just having trouble with this. And if you're one of those people that needs to go every week because you're just struggling with this class or you just don't understand this online portion, your professor should be here to help. Set aside that in-person meeting as far as Zoom, and set aside that time for getting your classwork done, and do your work in a place that you can associate that with your workspace. That's my biggest tip until we're out of this crud and you can go back to your in-person classes.
Some of our students also work, and one a piece of advice one of my friends gave me was to, you know, don't take that work home with you. So go home and change clothes and get into something more comfortable, and you take that work hat off, and then you put on something more comfortable, and just getting out of that atmosphere.
Yeah, actually, that's really good advice. And you just reminded me of something that I did when I was in school is after work, we're tired, right? We don't want to like go and do schoolwork, but we have to, otherwise we're doing something right before it's due. Reward yourself. It's a little bit of behavioral therapy for you. Give yourself something. It doesn't have to be food, but it can be. For me, I liked always having a hot drink, whether it was coffee, tea, or whatever. And I like candles. So I would like light a candle, put on some calming music that I really enjoyed, and got a hot drink. I was like, ooh, this is fun. Now, some people are like, that doesn't sound fun at all. Well, it was just fun for me. But you can make it whatever you want. If you're like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this, I'm going to get a Coca-Cola or a Mountain Dew and my junk food, and I know I'm gonna put on some heavy metal and do my homework, whatever works. Give yourself a little bit of a reward with it, and you'll start wanting to do that because it's like, oh, that's kind of fun. I get to listen to my heavy metal while I do this. Give yourself some positive with something you don't like, and you'll start pairing those two together.
I'm gonna look at the camera. We are not lighting candles in housing.
Yes, my example. Follow the rules of housing.
So talk to us a little bit about maybe some of the test taking skills that we can share with the students.
Yeah, so test taking, once again, like I said before, study ahead of time. Try not to study only the night before. If you need to wake up early and do some more studying, totally do that. Don't study in bed. I'm just recapping some of the stuff I've already said. Don't study in bed. You're not going to be able to sleep that night. Give yourself those breaks. Listen to your body. Stand up. Give yourself those mental breaks. Don't try to cram everything in at the last minute. That's like trying to pack for a trip and you're packing all your clothes in this tiny suitcase and you're trying to zip it at the last minute. It's too full. Your brain's the same way. Give it a break. It's working hard for you. I know some of us are procrastinators. I was that way too. Just don't want to think about it. So I'm going to keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I don't know if you just need to set up a schedule of yourself. Like on this day, I'm just going to study for just 20 minutes today, weeks before whatever exam that you may be having. That's cool too. If you find yourself where your time ran out and it's the day before the exam, set a realistic goal for yourself. Get that sleep, get that food, and try to do the best you can with what you have.
Right. Thank you. And in winding up, could you give us like the available hours that you're available?
Yeah, so me and my director are here. We try to be here on campus. I say here, and I'm obviously at home, but she's on campus today. So for the most part, and so we try to be on campus every single day. Sometimes with COVID and with the rules that Grace and colleges put forth about feeling a little ill. Same thing with you guys. You know, don't go to some place if you're feeling under the weather a little bit. So sometimes we're not always there, but we are always working from home for the most part. So for example, I'm at home. It's easy to get a hold of me. We check our emails religiously. Also our office phones transfer to our cell phones. So we can answer even if we're at home. The best way to get a hold of us, honestly, instead of me giving you the email now and hopefully you have a pen to write it down, you can find us at grayson.edu. So we're kind of hidden. We're working on getting it more. I'm working on getting it more available. But technically, if you go under academics, when you go in, it'll be under advising, because we used to be with advising. Just in the past year have we separated from advising. You go under advising, and advising's got a beautiful website. On the left side there's a few links and it'll say personal counseling. So if you click that, it's got me and my director Barbara Malone's emails, as well as our scheduling links. We do everything online. So if you click our email, our name, I think actually our name, it should take you to our acuity scheduling, and our email and phone number are on there if you have questions and want some help. I do recommend, if you're worried about finals or something like that, maybe don't wait till right before finals week, because who knows how many other people are trying to get into. If you're worried about it now, you know you're a procrastinator, you know these are issues, make an appointment now.
And then just in wrapping up, could you just share with us some final thoughts?
Yeah, so here's the biggest thing, and something I tell myself on a regular basis when my own fear gets in my way of success and my goals is, you know what, fear, like, you do not have a say so in my life. And you can definitely tell fear the same thing. Fear can paralyze us. Like I said earlier, fear can make us feel like I can't do anything right. Why am I doing anything at all? Okay, we got our 30 minutes of letting fear have its pity party. Now you punch fear in the face and you say, no, I'm going to run my life. I am a successful person. I'm going to reach every goal that I set aside for myself. And if you believe that, you absolutely will. Don't let fear, don't let stress ruin why you're here.
All right, that is good. There's a song in the, I think the lyrics say, "Fear is a liar." So, thank you so much for your time, Mrs. Perez. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you.
Good luck on everything, guys.